Bridging the rift. It'd be nice if he was talking about the void, but I don't think he's talking about the void. The veteran Radiant wishes to share his gratitude. Thank you for putting forth Kalzal's. I probably just pronounced it. I already forgot how to say it. Kalzal's name. Those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You will forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Yastola. Yes, or she asks that you meet her in the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Oh, maybe they were talking about the Void Rift. Understood, thank you. Yastola must have finished her study of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say then? I will go with you. Can the dragon just transfer his mind into this kid whenever he feels like? I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been the well-oiled cogs of this administration since before Iwan assumed the office. They understand what needs to be done, and I'm curious to learn what conclusions your Archon has reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish. Allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. You don't think anyone uses VR that often? You often spend like 5 months without playing it? I think I've seen the wild stuff that happens in VR chat. That seems like a good time. It's not really a game though. But it does seem like a fun time. And there are a couple games that look really, really good, but I just don't think I'd be able to play them. I think I would just freak out. And those are the Resident Evil games. Yeah, I would just lose my mind. Especially if I play, what is it, like Resident Evil 7? Resident Evil 4 might not be so bad. I mean, I haven't played either one, so I don't really know. But I feel like RE7 would be. I've seen some other people or I've seen some scenes from it. I just can't imagine playing that game in VR. Bone Lab is really good. You can mod it. It's basically Gmod in VR. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of smaller, I don't want to say indie games, but maybe some indie games and some games from smaller studios. I'm sure there's plenty of those. But nothing like an established, company, or at least a company that has an IP that I would personally feel like I gotta play that. Because I feel like that's what gets you to buy it. Like if there's like a Final Fantasy VR game, or some other franchise, like a really good Nintendo one, where I could play like Zelda, not like that, that cardboard one they came out with, but stuff like that. That would be the push I need to spend the money on getting a VR set, and then I'd try all the other games out.
Right, here we all are.
But I feel like it's a hard sell to be like, spend these, couple $100 on like a game from a company you've never heard of. And it might, that might be a bad reasoning on my part, and it might be a good game either way. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're just taking a chance, right? Like, I want to say I'll look into it, but I really don't want to look into it because I know if I look into it, I'm gonna convince myself to spend the money, which I really don't want to do. At least not right now.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the void gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vritra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
The indie VR games are better than the AAA ones. Nowadays, I'd say a lot of indie games are better than AAA games. VR are not. So I mean, I'm not trying to diminish indie games. It's just a hard sell to be like, hey, spend this $500 on a game that's probably good, but you just don't know. Whereas, like I said, if there was like a good Square Enix game, I'd be like, I've been playing Square Enix games for 20 years. I know what I'm getting into. So I'll spend the money on the VR set. Maybe if I knew somebody that had a VR set and I could like try it out, that would be helpful.
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics.
Yeah, and I guess another reason is, like I said, I'd probably get motion sick playing it. But I'm just like, there's like so many things that are there's like so many things that are a barrier for entry, at least for me personally. VR AAA games are kind of bad, except for RE4. Not even RE7. I heard it was pretty good.
From what we understand,
Scary, but good.
travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them.
But I mean, other than those two games, I haven't heard anything else. At least from AAA games.
Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first. You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many voids sent found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
The games themselves don't cost that much, just the headset, yep. That's why it's not being adopted by many. Because it's like, all right, like if you get the PS5 one or the PS1, you have to first you got to spend money on the system. And then you got to get a VR set. And then the one for PC, you got to spend money on a PC. And by the time you spend money on a PC, a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, it's like, man, I just spent a ton of money. I don't want to spend like another, you know, five, six, $1,000 on a VR set for like a small small amount of VR games. It's like it's a new experience that people, at least a lot of people, haven't had many experiences with. So I feel like they're hesitant. Like, but nobody's hesitant to buy a console. Like, I knew what I was getting with the PS5. I bought a PS4 and a PS3 and a PS2. Same thing with the PC. I've had plenty of PCs my whole life. I know what to expect.
An excellent question.
I don't know anything about the PlayStation headset. I just know PlayStation has abandoned some of their tech. So I don't even want to take the chance. Like they gave up on the Vita or the PSP. All right. So I'm just like, eh. And I'm sure their new, streaming handheld is going to be abandoned either way.
Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner.
I can't wait to get here. Dude's pissed off. Can't even
Instead,
fit
it
in
is
there.
far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain exarch dragged us to the first.
Dude just left his body.
And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th.
What are those statues?
Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Is this where all the monsters are coming from?
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
So unless somebody calls us, no way for us to get there. Except for us, right? We're probably special.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
Wouldn't it be crazy if we could do something like that in our world? We find out, like, we're on, like, the source Earth, There's like 13 different, or like an infinite amount of reflections of Earth. And we find out how to get from one to the other. Be wild.
No, the danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Everybody, when that comes up, everybody always looks at me.
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
Well, that hasn't stopped me
I was
before.
most attentive, and I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
Count me in. I'm loving this this story kind of revolving around Y'shtola. We haven't had any quests with her for, I guess, kind of finished the quest. That's probably why we haven't seen her in a while, or at least me personally.
Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
How are we gonna get in?
As I've said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single void scent will be allowed to threaten Radzatan, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daemir was overseeing the project.
Daemir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, but their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made void scent?
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daemir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with...
The restriction. What is this, Harry Potter? The restricted section?
Yes, it may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
5,000 years ago. Still there. You've been watching a lot of Pawn Stars for no reason.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves. See myself being of little use. Go on ahead. I still need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot as well. I gotta say, a couple years ago, I took the TV out of my room, and I have not regretted one thing. I haven't seen 1 minute of TV in years. Couldn't be happier. Although I probably replaced it with YouTube videos. But you know, not as much at least. And it's not so mindless. And I could choose what I want. You know, better. Yo, Fudge, welcome to the stream. Oh, I didn't even notice. I'm now Tom.
Let us be on our way as well.
How you been, Fudge? I don't think this kid wants to help us.
Venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
Can his sister still be alive? I mean, she is a dragon. They can definitely live that long. Actually, I think they're eternal. But I imagine for 5,000 years she's being constantly attacked. That's probably the bigger deal. If we were to enter Nomenon's restricted archives with a minimum of fuss, then we must secure the permission of the Forum. First, however, we shall need to enlist the cooperation of a member to broach the matter on our behalf. Who do you think might be inclined to assist us? No one springs to mind. What if Scholark's Monty. He did come to Ra's defense during the inquiry, after all. 'Tis settled. Let us head to Phenomenon and see if he's willing to help us once more. Y'shtolas now accompany you. Keep her at your side and proceed with the quest objective. You can leave Y'shtola behind by entering a different area or by speaking with her and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have Y'shtola accompany you again, return and speak with her at the original location. What the? What's this box for? This is a real dude? It is. You've been good. Kids are off to school. Kids now off school for a week. So no school. Oh, nice. For a second, I thought they were just... For a second, I read that wrong. And you were just like, oh yeah, my kids, you know, they're at school for a whole week. Nice. Nice to have a break once in a while. Okay, so we can't teleport there, so I guess we're just gonna have to walk. Usually when we have to guide people around, there's like little conversations we can have. I think it's right here. Yeah, let's sprint. You can run. You know, I don't think she's ever been in... Oh, I mean, technically she's not in our party, but... I don't think we've ever had her follow us for anything. But I think that's something new that they introduced in Endwalker, so... I guess that's not too surprising. But let's see what she has to say. I apprenticed to Master Matoya at the age of 7 and labored under her tutelage for a full decade. I never had the chance to attend the studium. Neither did Thancred, as I recall. Soon after Master Lazat took a man off the streets, he was put in the care of another Archon. His was a rigorous and practical education in the arts of espionage and survival. I sometimes wonder what my life would have been like had I pursued studies here instead. Tea at the last stand after a day's lecture. Oh, that does sound lovely. Afternoons with friends spent sipping tea and debating theories. Still, I wouldn't give up my time with Master Matoya for the world. The dank cave I studied in was about as far from the bright, airy halls of academia as one could get, but it was a wondrous, magical childhood nonetheless. I agree. Considering who Master Matoya is, I mean, this place is nothing to sneeze about, but I think I'd probably choose Master Matoya as well. Seems like a much funner experience, to be honest. I'd rather be in a stuffy cave than a stuffy library. It's nice, normally I don't stream when they're off school, but this time I am, as I only just started back up again, so hopefully they leave me in peace when I'm doing that. Also, you planning to stream tonight? I mean, for you it would be in the morning, but for me it would be 3 a.m. Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What may I do for you? Pray forgive the intrusion, Scholark, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Nomenon's restricted archives. Ooh, no furtive forays into the stacks this time, eh? I applaud this newfound sense of propriety, yet in all this wide world of comparative serenity, what compels you to disturb a vault of forbidden wisdom? Are you going to try to stick to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Yeah, it's best to have a schedule. I mean, I don't know. For me, it may be a little different. I tried to do a schedule, but then I just kind of felt forced. Like, to me, it's better to stream I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird, but I have an easier time streaming every day. But if I announce, oh, my schedule is every day, then I don't want to stream anymore. I can't. It's like once I make that declaration, it just feels different, and I just get more annoyed. Whereas if I don't say anything, then I'm not like I promised to stream every day, and then it's just, I don't know, it's weird. Fascinating. I had no such idea of such a technique existed. I would have been surprised if you had. My assumption is correct. The research left behind by House De Demir has lain dormant in Charlian's archive for many centuries. And if you unearth this research, what then? Surely you don't intend to cross over into the void. Oh, with the Matoya music. That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? To develop a method of traversing the rift. For one, that I might keep my word to a distant friend. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world and the echo of its future. And yet I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to the last secret. What scholar worthy of the name wouldn't force open a void gate or two if a grand revelation was the promised reward? Ah, marvelous. I would agree. The fact that they have a secret or maybe not secret, but the fact that there's a lot. I mean, wouldn't it be strange if you went to the library and they're just like, this knowledge is restricted. You can't learn this stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is a library to learn? You're going to restrict books. An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and the wherefores, I, for one, do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request to the forum's consideration. Why, thank you. Although your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance. Oh yeah, for you it makes sense, man. You have wife and kids. Completely understand the schedule for you, but that does not apply to me. So I have more liberty in that fact, but I completely understand. The fact that you can stream 3 days a week is surprising at all, to be honest. Why Master? Damn names. I'm gonna call him Master 4. Master 4, of course. He can hardly ignore an earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master 4. Great, now I'm thinking of One Piece. Although I guess that's Mr. 4. Master 4 on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well, we'll pay a visit to the levy estate, complete our case. One last thing to do before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you made in the void. My appetite for knowledge is every bit as insatiable as yours. I'd wager so if you could see a way to indulging an old man's curiosity. Of course, Scholar, you'll be sure to pass on any revelations. You'd be streaming a lot more if you didn't have a wife and kids. I feel you, man. Oh, we can't even teleport. I don't think we can teleport with her following us. Man, we gotta walk over there, I think. I mean, I guess we can take... Yeah, let's just take the chance. Didn't really say anything about teleporting. If not, we'll just go pick her up again. Oh, nice. I guess we didn't have to walk. I mean, I guess that's not too surprising. We've had the NPCs use the teleporter before. Actually, they used the teleporter to get to this place to begin with. Master Divinius, Mistress Justola, that may be of service. We've come to speak with Master 4. Is he home by any chance? Yes, the Master is in residence. I shall inform him that he has guests. Well, well. Millions would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of import to discuss? Then pray proceed, you have my full attention. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Scholar Monty expressed much the same sentiment. I assure you will not attempt to circumvent the forum's authority again, unless it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason. Yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge? For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend, a selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from the horror and suffering. But the brother has given up on thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over a people yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. is no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation might be, or must be. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first could constitute a fair trade for our cooperation. Do not celebrate just yet. The forum must still be convinced. Now add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldician Annex. Well, considering this is a story mission, I have no doubt they're going to say yes. Okay. Let's see. I imagine it's probably inside the building. So what did the forum decide? To put it bluntly, Master Matoya has burned some bridges here in Charlian, and salted the earth for good measure. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their discontent. Then the chamber was reminded, in no uncertain terms, I might add, of the incredible debt we owe you and your companions. That served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you entry to the archives was the least we could do in return. That is wonderful news. Thank you for both speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I am sure you are aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it's not. I wish you well in your endeavor, and bid you good day. Never the same, that one. Uncompromising, eh? But that very stoicism is exactly what Charlian needed to guide it through not one but two exoduses. That was a fairly long quest, about 40 minutes. This went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk in through the door. Our focus would be on finding House Demir's research notes. Of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy. Well, I mean, it's going to take us some time to find what we need. So, we look through a couple things and, on the side, can't be that much of an issue, right?